Hello and welcome to this week's episode of I've Got a Story for You. I'm Josh.
And I'm Luke.
And this week's episode is called Camp Lads. We're not boys. So, me and Luke have been camping a few times together.
Yep.
Luke's been camping more than me.
Only a couple more times.
But each time, been quite memorable, I'd say. What would you say?
Yeah, memorable is the right word for the wrong reasons. I mean, we've had a laugh. But yeah, it's definitely tested our friendship.
Just a little bit. Where do we start with this, Luke? Because we've been out and about.
I think if we go chronological order,
okay,
we'll start at camping at Scott's nan's house.
Yeah, okay. So I'll let you introduce this one.
Okie doke. So, Scott is a very good mate of mine. We lived in London for 3 years together, and he's originally from near Worcester, and it was one of his family members' birthday. In fact, it was a joint birthday party. I can't remember whose relatives it was, but it was like 2 or 3 relatives' birthdays, and he was like, "Oh, you should come up. We're having a big party. Like the whole family's coming round, but you'll be camping in the main field." So I was like, "Oh yeah, that's fine. I don't mind that." And then I was like, "Oh, do you mind if I invite Josh? Because I used to talk about you all the time." And he was like, "Oh yeah, no, it'd be good to meet him." I was like, "Well, you've not fucking met him yet." He was like, "Oh yeah, no, that's fine. Bring him down." So we went down, and I don't know what you were expecting it to be like, but I bet it wasn't what you thought.
No, it definitely wasn't what I thought. I thought it was just like a back garden, like a big back garden. And we got there and it was pretty much like a homestead. It was just like a mini farm. I was like, oh, wow. And there were like marquees everywhere. I don't know like how big Scott's family is, but there was at least a good couple of 100 people there, I'd say.
There fucking wasn't, you dickhead. There was like 40.
40 people?
There was not 200 people there.
I'd say there was.
Unless
that was my double vision.
No, there's no way there was that many people. There was like 40 people there. I don't know where you've got that from.
I'm saying there was quite a few people. There was more people than what I was expecting, and it was quite a big field, and there was enough people to fill the field. That's all I'm saying.
There was enough room to walk around freely. You're making them sound like a family of jippos. All parked with the caravans in a big circle.
You can't choose your family, Luke, and I'm sure that if Scott is a jippy. I'm sure he's fine with that.
Right, I'm just going to put this out there because I know Scott's dad has listened to a couple of episodes. I do apologise. They are not jippos or travellers. They're a very, very lovely family. And they offered all their land for you to sleep on, and you disrespect them this way. I think it's horrible, Josh.
I'm not being disrespectful. All I'm saying, right, is that I thought there was more people than what you're saying. We can fact check it. We can ring Scott now on the phone and ask him how many people turned up to his camping trip.
We can't. He's working in Prague.
Ah, of course he is.
So anyway, all 40 people were sat underneath gazebos because it was fucking chucking it down. They were having like a big barbecue, but it absolutely pelted it down, didn't it?
It did. I was just thinking, like, as soon as we got there, it started spitting, and then as the night progressed, I was just thinking to myself, we've got to camp in this.
Yeah, and we'd not even set our tents up at that point, had we?
No. So I think that must have been one of the first things we did. And I thought to myself, there was only one more tent on the field when we got there. And I was like thinking to myself, where's Scott sleeping? Because I think we saw his brother or someone when we first arrived. Then Luke breaks it to me that, oh yeah, Scott's sleeping in the caravan. Now this doesn't look good because I've just called him a gypsy, but he had Chateau de Caravan and it was kitted out. It was warm, and to be honest, we spent a good half our time in there because we needed to warm up big time because it was absolutely freezing.
It didn't even have electricity, mate.
How did we keep warm then?
He had a fire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But what were you expecting? Him to just be like, "Oh, you know what, Josh? You go and sleep in the caravan, and me and Kirsten will go and share your tiny one-man, not waterproof tent."
Mine was very waterproof, actually.
Was it?
No. If I bought it about 6 years ago, and the first night it pissed through.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right.
I don't know what it is with tents. I've never bought a good tent. They all just like leak straight away. Like the one that I took to Scott's leaked before we got in bed, but
that was brand new, weren't it?
Yeah, but luckily the airbed that I had was like raised off the floor quite a bit, so
yeah.
I didn't get wet until the morning. Wait.
Oh dear.
After we finished setting the tents up, we were like, right, let's just go and have a few drinks. And we did, and we had quite a few drinks in a very short space of time. We got very drunk.
Yeah. Very quickly.
Yeah. And everyone's like hunkered underneath all these gazebos, eating a soggy hot dog, which is not appealing, but it was cooked well. So you've got to give him that. Then Scott rocks up with 2 massive speakers, a microphone, and his laptop, and he's like, right, okay, guys, karaoke.
I remember that. And then as soon as I heard karaoke, that was it. My name was down instantly. But I had to be strategic with it because when I'm drunk, my one go-to song is Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up. And I don't know if you remember that night, but I don't know if I sang it well because I was absolutely steaming. But I remember all of Scott's family just whooping to the.
You got a round of applause, to be fair, and then everyone started dancing after that.
Oh, that bit was good. Everyone was steaming, but everyone was just so nice.
Yeah.
And it's weird because like my usual family gatherings, someone either gets into an argument or
arrested.
Yeah. So it was new to me.
Yeah.
I want Scott's family to adopt me.
They are lovely. Like they're all sound, and they're all so funny as well.
One other thing I can remember about that camping trip. Bear in mind, I didn't even know Scott at this point properly. I've only heard of him.
Yeah.
But he thought it was a good idea to offer rides in his Volkswagen Beetle, like a really old one.
Yeah. He's doing up a really old Beetle, and when I say he's doing it up, it's got an engine. The seats aren't bolted down. It's got a steering wheel, and that's about it. It's got no doors, no windows, no bonnet. It's literally a shell of a car, but it runs.
It does run, and it ran well with all of his family's children in the back of it. He had me in the back. I've never sat in a Volkswagen Beetle before, and I was really surprised with the fact that the seats were springy. So bear in mind, this is going over a field, and there were lots of dips and hills in the field. I was up and down like no man's. Oh, it was so funny.
Your head was hitting the roof more than the Range Rover Evoque.
Well, yeah, there is that. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else from that specific time.
Yes, there is. 'Cause it wasn't just you that I'd invited to camping. It was my ex as well.
Oh yeah.
And I think it was it must have been the first time meeting Scott and Kirsten. So we were obviously in one tent. You were in yours. And we woke up and we thought we were the first ones awake. So we started getting busy. And then all of a sudden, I just heard... Wow, 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 wow. Fucking Marvin Gaye.
I remember that. Oh, I didn't know what to do because, right, let me just put this into perspective for you. So I've woke up about 20 minutes. I'm still coming round because I was hungover to fuck. I'm so glad I wasn't driving on the way home, put it that way. And then I'm just sat there going through Facebook, trying to sort of wake myself up. And next minute, I hear a bit of rustling and then a bit of moaning and then a bit of squelching. So then I thought... this is either going to go one or two ways. You're either going to carry on and embrace it, or it's going to kill the mood. So I stuck on Marvin Gaye, and yeah, it killed the mood for you, which either way I was happy with.
Yeah, nah. You thought it killed the mood. It ended up finishing off with a blowjob for me, so...
Well... That's that then.
Yeah, so fuck you.
Oh, next time. So yeah, that was that. And then after going camping there, we decided that we needed to relive that moment. And I think it was near my birthday, was it?
Yeah, it would have been. It was proper peak summer.
Yeah. And we decided to go and stop in a lovely... What would you call it? It was another field.
A campsite.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, a campsite. But it was a really nice campsite because I picked it because I've been before. But it was in COVID the last time I went, and I promised everyone karaoke, beer, and nice walks because obviously we had a good time having karaoke, and it gives us something to do.
Yeah.
So we got there and we arrived on the day after the karaoke was all happening. Yeah. So there was no karaoke. We had plenty of beer and we did go on a nice walk.
Yeah, we did. Well, semi-nice. It would have been nicer without you and Scott marching through the forest to a Nazi marching song.
Luke, we can't say that on here.
We can. I'm in charge of editing it, mate. I can say what the fuck I want.
Yeah, me and Scott did do that. I'd say we came out of our shells a little bit with each other on that occasion.
Yeah.
Before we decided to go marching through the woods, we did get a bit steamy again.
Steaming.
Steaming, yeah.
We didn't get steamy.
Well, you don't know what happened, Luke. You was in a different tent. Yeah, we got absolutely piffed to a point of no return, I think.
Yeah.
All I remember is marching through the woods. We also came across a slug. Do you remember the slug?
I remember the slug. Video on Instagram will be out soon.
I thought I'd lost that video.
Oh no, I've got it. Don't worry.
Oh, good. If anyone's interested, I decided to sing "Amaya-hee, Amaya-hoo" to a slug. And it was actually quite good, to be fair, when we look back the day after.
It was brilliant. The video, it was so well edited and composed. I was like, we've got something here. And proper excited, put it on TikTok. It got a grand total of 400 views.
That's it. It didn't go viral, but it didn't need to. What else happened?
Well, while we were out walking through the woods, you just kept darting off way ahead of us. And it was pitch black, so we only had our phone torches. And then we'd play Ghost Hunters. So you'd peg it and go and hide somewhere. And we'd have to try and spot you, but you had to hide, not fully concealed, but not just out in the open. So you could pop out behind a tree or something like that. And we're having fun. And then you, as always, take it one step too far. And we shine a torch on this tree trunk. And just to the left, you're stood there with your bollocks out. And we're like, oh, there's Josh.
I bet you saw my bollocks before you saw me.
I did. They were glowing up like fucking baubles.
I should have put my torch through them so they glue red.
Oh my god.
Oh, dear me. All I was going to say is we should have never got as pissed as we did that night because we planned to go to Alton Towers the day after, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah, that was so funny because so my ex ended up coming to that trip as well and woke up in the morning all hanging out our arses. I surprisingly felt fresher than I thought I was going to feel. And me and Scott were like, right, let's still go to Alton Towers. And then you and my ex woke up and you were like, and we were like, come on, get dressed, we go in, we've got to beat the queues. And you were like, can we not just go to like, there's a nature reserve around the corner, can we just go there instead? And me and Scott were like, no, the whole point of us coming here was so we could go to Alton Towers, we're going. And
so bad.
Even though I wasn't that bad, that first roller coaster, I was like,
had you been on Wicker Man before?
No.
Oh, I'm glad. So I'm glad you say that because I remember the conversation in the queue. Right, if anyone's been to Alton Towers and been on Wicker Man, you're looking at the ride as you're in the queue and you're watching it whiz past, and you're thinking to yourself, "It don't look that bad, to be fair." And then you're on it, and it starts off quite mellow, but then all of a sudden, it's like your head's banging from side to side. You've got like steep, short bumps on the rails and stuff like that. It is not the best hangover cure, I'd say, unless you want to throw up and make yourself feel better.
Nah, solid 6 out of 10 on the hangover cure scale.
Oh, it was just so bad. What did anything else happen at Alton Towers? Because we managed to get on quite a few rides to say it were like peak summer.
Yeah, we did. I think it's because the weather was a bit shit.
Yeah. Oh, I remember. Can you remember the ghost train?
Yeah. I do.
So we went on the ghost train. It's recently been updated, and it's a lot more scary than I imagined. Well, I didn't imagine. I went on it as a kid. It's a lot more scary than when I went on there. So we're going around, and I didn't know what I was expecting. And usually I don't get scared about like pop-up things, but we're going around, and a few things actually did scare me. I was sat next to Scott, and we got off the ride, and we went straight to the photo booth, and I'm there looking for me. And I find my number, and I see Scott, and then right next to me, I nearly missed myself because all I can describe myself looking like is a guy with cerebral palsy because my arms are flitting about like no man.
You look like you were halfway through a stroke.
It's that bad. I decided to Photoshop a helmet on me. To make it look more realistic.
Oh, that was so. I've never seen you so scared.
Oh,
yeah, it's amazing when. Like, do you know when you've got? Because it was really nice weather while we were camping. It was just Alton Towers that was raining. So when you've got like the right weather and the right people, camping is one of the best holidays you can have, I think. When it's not so good is when you're at a festival and it's pissing it down. I did camping at Download with my brother, I don't know, 2016 maybe.
Yeah.
And You know what it's like when you're at a festival, when you're camping, you kind of, even if you don't go with loads of other people, you kind of put your tent in a position that's social. So there's like a little bit of patch of grass in the middle where people normally like pop up a gazebo or something. So we'd made friends with one lot of people in the line to get in, and we all set up like a massive circle. There was one tent there that we'd not seen this guy all night, and we were all drinking and having a laugh, getting to know each other. And his tent was just zipped all night, and we'd not seen him. Flash forward to the morning, we wake up, it's like 10 o'clock, and that tent has just got like a massive slash in the side of it.
Right.
So one by one, like, we're all getting up and getting out. And we sat round having a drink, eating some breakfast. And everyone's like, does anyone know whose tent that is? And we're like, no. They were like, have you seen the massive hole in the side of it? They were like, yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Then, like, a few minutes later, this guy comes stumbling back in, like, wellies, shorts, no T-shirt, and a cowboy hat.
Right.
And he is fucked. And we were like, hi, mate, you all right? And he's like, yeah. And then he just, like, crawls through the hole in the side of the tent and goes to bed. We were like, what the fuck's that? We thought we were all tripping. So we went to watch the bands that day, came back, and this guy's just, like, sat outside his tent feeling sorry for himself. We were like, you all right, mate? Well, tried to get to know him a bit. Turns out what he'd done is he'd woke up in the middle of the night to go to the toilet, couldn't find the zip, so just got his Leatherman out, his pocket knife out, and just slashed a massive hole in the side of his tent. And we were all like, yeah, but now you've not got a tent for the rest of the weekend. He was like, yeah, I didn't really think it through, did I? We were like, no. And then it pissed it down for the duration of the weekend. He was fucked. Even mine and my brother's tent got flooded out, and we didn't have a hole in the side of it. We ended up sleeping the last couple of nights on the floor of this other woman's tent in, like, her communal area, because our tent was just fucked.
Fucking hell. I think festivals are a first for, like, camping disasters.
Yeah.
A few things have happened to me on, like, I've been to festival twice now, and they've both been Why Not festivals. When I first went, I went with a group of mates from sixth form.
Yeah.
Dad, if you're listening, turn off now.
This is where Josh comes out.
No, it's not. My first experience of having a bong for breakfast, that was my festival first. My other festival first is shitting on someone else's shit. Now, in principle, that's pretty normal.
I'm so glad you said someone else's shit. I thought you were going to say chest.
No. But yeah, when the Portaloos are just absolutely up to the brim. And what else did I do?
Kissed a boy.
I didn't kiss a boy.
All right, mate. You don't have to sound so defensive.
I'm not.
We're all friends here. It's fine.
But yeah, have you had any, like, weird firsts in a festival?
Yes, I fingered a girl in the middle of a field.
Really?
Yeah. We, I think it was the second night. Do you know when they have, like, all the party tents in the camping area?
Yeah.
We were in one of them, and there was a girl, and she wasn't really that attractive, but I was very drunk, so she was attractive.
Right.
And
makes sense.
She ended up coming back to our circle, and it was her and her friend was trying it on with my brother, but my brother was like, absolutely not. For starters, he's been with his now wife since he was 16, but also She was a munter. But even if she was fit, he wouldn't have done it. She was only there because I was like, oh yeah, come back. And
Did your brother take one for the team though? Did he talk to her at least whilst you were doing your business?
no, he pretty much ignored her. But she ended up talking to someone else in the circle, so it was fine. Because
Oh, good.
me and this other girl were just like necking on constantly, which looking back now, like I hate it when people do that, like right in front of like in a group, in a circle.
Yeah.
But I was like 18 then, so I was just grateful for the attention, to be honest. And we were like, right, I want to do a little bit more than this. So we basically just wandered off and left a friend with all these strangers, and then found like a little patch of grass in between two tents, and and yeah,
So romantic.
I flicked the bean a little bit.
Oh no, Luke. No, we don't want the details. Jesus Christ. I've witnessed my dad shitting in a carrier bag.
Okay, I need details, please.
So he doesn't like public toilets, I'm guessing. Well, he's never really expressed his concern for them. But whilst we were at Flamingo Land, we just kept hearing a slight argument with my stepmom saying, I'm not going to those toilets, they're fucking disgusting. So about 20 minutes later, I decided my dad must have built up the courage to ask my stepmom to hold a carrier bag, a Tesco's carrier bag, whilst he shits in it because he didn't go to the toilet. And so that memory will forever be etched in my brain. I don't know what they did with the carrier bag.
That's what he was carrying all your packed lunch with around in all day.
I hope not. But yeah, my dad shit in a carrier bag. I know he listens to this. I'm going to be in so much trouble when he listens to this episode. Oh dear. I think after listening about my dad shitting in a carrier bag, we move on to the questions.
I think that's a very good idea.
Questions.
Okay, right, we've got 3 questions this week.
Wow, all written by Luke.
Good to see you chipping in, mate. I must admit the socials look sick, so
Thank you.
you are pulling your weight.
We've still only got 66 followers, so it's not working.
Look, have you ever seen the film Field of Dreams?
I haven't.
Tagline is build it and they will come. So
Oh dear me.
we'll get there. Right.
Okay, so kicking it off, if you had to choose between toilet roll or a sleeping bag, which one would you choose?
It's got to be sleeping bag.
Why?
Because there's so much natural toilet paper out there. Like you could use.
what?
Well, I've used a fucking Tesco receipt before.
True.
You can use.
True.
I know there's not many of them growing on trees in the woods, but you can use leaves, grass. You can just do what dogs do and rub your arsehole across the floor.
That's true.
But then you might get worms.
Whereas
Whereas if you don't have a sleeping bag, you're defo getting hypothermia.
what happens? Are you going on your own? Would you say this is just for like a solo trip? This question, because
Yeah.
in that case, I mean, it is going to be a sleeping bag. Because then you can pretty much do whatever you want, really, can't you? If you need if you do need a poo, you just do what you want. You
Yeah.
can't. You might not even wipe. You might just let it go crusty and.
Oh mate, can we not? You always take it one step too far. Right, okay. Say you dropped off in the middle of the woods for 1 week with nothing but a tent and 2 items of your choice. What are you bringing and why?
I'd definitely bring a compass.
A compass?
Yeah.
Right. What's that going to tell you?
Well, if I'm dropped off in the middle of nowhere, I want to know which way I am.
Right, but if you don't know where you are, you don't know which way to head. So the compass is useless, isn't it?
Well, is someone picking me up, or have I got to go make my own way home?
Someone's picking you up.
All right, okay. No, I don't want a compass then.
No.
Am I allowed a mobile?
You are, but you're going to need something to charge it, and that's both items.
I'll take a mobile. It'll be on 100% when I take it out. And it'll be just for emergencies and to watch Brazzers when I get a bit bored.
Well, that is an emergency, so...
It is, yeah.
Everyone needs an emergency wank every now and then.
Yeah. And I'd say a sleeping bag, because then you can just make a shelter wherever you want.
Well, you've got a tent.
Oh, you got a tent?
Right. Let me repeat the question. You dropped off in the middle of the woods for 1 week with nothing but a tent and 2 items of your choice. Right. What are you bringing?
Oh,
why?
Dear me.
Right. If you didn't think a tent was included, why didn't you say fucking tent? You bellend.
Dickhead. Oh dear. You know what? I'm sticking with sleeping bag. I do not want anything else other than my phone and a sleeping bag
to shelter you from the shelter.
That's it.
Okay.
Right. Final question. I'm looking forward to this one. As a young teenager, who would you rather be trapped inside a tent with? Either Philip Schofield, Hugh Edwards, or Jeffrey Epstein?
I feel like you'd have a good time with all of them, to be fair. I feel like if you were with Philip Schofield, he'd cry afterwards because he felt shame. Hugh Edwards, I've never seen him pull any other facial expression other than the deadpan one that he used to read the news with. So you couldn't really have like cheerful conversation afterwards with him. But, you know, he had his issues, but Epstein was like a character, wasn't he?
Bit of a lad.
Yeah, know. Epstein, because he'd ask me to give him a massage, but then I'd ask him to give me one afterwards.
You probably would do it.
Extra oil, please.
For me, my sort of train of thought would be, it wouldn't be Epstein, because he'd probably try to sell me off, like, after. Or he'd probably be texting his mates trying to sell me off whilst we're there. Hugh Edwards, I just saw... Have you ever seen the photo of Hugh Edwards with his wang out?
No.
He sent one of the photos to the WhatsApp group or whatever, and it's just him like the camera's all the way down at the bottom, and then he's like, he must have put the camera on the floor, and then he just took a photo, and he's wanged out. You can just see his little grey head. So that picture in my mind would put me off being in a tent with him. But me and Philip Schofield, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, Luke, we've got a bit of history, me and Philip.
Have you?
Yeah, just a little bit. When I were in sixth form, I messaged him on Snapchat. It wasn't anything sexual. I don't want to get him in trouble again.
You baited him.
I did bait him.
And he bit.
He did bite. I'm sorry. Philip, I'm sorry. And I asked him what he were having for his dinner, and he turned around to me and said something like bread and bovril. I expect it from him. He's a bit of an old man.
Bread and bovril.
Yeah.
The food of the nonce.
Yeah.
My dad loves bread and bovril.
Fuck's sake. Oh dear me.
Sorry, Dad. We know you don't touch kids, really. They never proved it. He's going to listen to this and he's going to be like, why is it always me that you pick on? Why don't you ever pick on your fucking mother? And that, listeners, is because my mother scares the shit out of me.
You're getting disowned, mate. That's what's happening. You're in so much shit. Yeah, I want to go with Philip Schofield. I feel like I'd prefer a cuddle from him if it got cold. we can have some Bovril.
Yeah. That sounds wonderful, like a nice cosy night in.
Yeah.
Right, well, that's the questions for this week. Unfortunately, again, no listener stories.
Oh.
I know. We want that hot, juicy goss. We need you to tell us all your secrets and confess your sins.
We also need something else from you this week because we've got 3 more episodes left and we've decided that the next 2 episodes are going to be a bit of a roast to one another.
Oh, yeah.
And so we want anybody that knows us to write in and just roast the shit out of us.
Yeah. We want the most brutal comments. You don't even have to know us, just anything that you feel like you've learnt about us over the last... Well, this is the 9th episode. So, over the last 9 episodes, anything you've learnt about us that you feel like you can comment on, as brutal as you can be, send them in, because we're going to be roasting the shit out of each other.
No stone unturned. No holding back.
Maybe some stones unturned.
Well, I've got to think of some content.
Yeah, as usual, you can send in all your submissions to shameandshenanigans@gmail.com or DM us on Instagram with shame_and_shenanigans. Or X. What's the X account?
It is abbreviated IGASFY.
And what does that stand for?
I've got a story for you.
Ah, clever. I see what you did there. So with that, we're going to love you and leave you. It's been a pleasure. I've been Luke.
And I've been Josh.
And you've been listening to
I've Got a Story for You. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.